Do you have enough light in your life? Are you soaring in the joy around you? Are you stuck and unable to make life happen? Stay tuned for the Rabbi Jenny Show, where you will learn how to bask in the light and find more joy and meaning in life. Call to talk to Rabbi Jenny at 888-565-1470 and email questions and comments at rabbijenny.com. And now, if you're ready, stay tuned for the Rabbi who will light your world on fire, Rabbi Jenny.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Rabbi Jenny Show. Happy Wednesday. I'm so thrilled to be here. We have such a luscious topic for you today, opening your heart to love. It is so exciting. You're going to want to listen and watch this one again. So I want to remind you of a couple things. You can check us out at rabbijenny.tv. You can also check out my Facebook page, Rabbi Jenny Skylark, and like that up. You can go catch me on Twitter, Jenny Rabbi, and on Instagram. Please do check me out. I love to hear from you. I love to respond to you and answer any questions or give you any advice that you need. So let's get to the two main ideas that we talk about on the Rabbi Jenny Show. These are two main ideas, listeners, that you bring with you. I want you to bring them with you from this day forward. If you're a new listener, take them with you, make them a part of who you are. You can say them 50,000 times a day, and it would never be enough. And the first main idea is this: the world is happening for you, not to you. This is 100% of the time, no matter what it is, it's happening for you and not to you. Because why? The second main idea: you are divine love light energy. You are a part of source. You are natural. You are part of the natural order of life, which means it ebbs and flows with you. So you are expanding and growing and changing and shedding the same way everything else in nature does. You don't get to break the rules and be something else. It's all you. So this is something to have faith in and to get used to, that usually sometimes things are going on in your life and you can't feel that they're happening for you, but you have to be reminded that it always is light after dark. You always feel happiness after sadness. There is always reaping and sowing. There's always this rhythm of life, and that's the rhythm that we are to get in touch with. So we remember that we are not being victimized, that we are the heroes, the warriors, the visionaries of our own life, and that it's happening for us and not to us. So the topic today, of course, listeners, is inspired by Torah, but we're hitting it from a new angle. This is my favorite time of year. We finished Purim and we're moving into Passover. It is my favorite time of year because it's when I get to see my siblings and my nieces and nephews, and I get to see and eat with people. And Passover is such a wonderful season of rebirth and letting go and freedom. It is a holiday of freedom. So one of the things that happens in this time in the Torah is we're talking about loving thy neighbor as thyself. And that's been an inspiration the past couple weeks. So I want to teach you, one of the first things my teacher taught me was about the code, or the Torah, the scroll that you see in Judaism if you weren't raised Jewish. It's the scroll that you see them hold in an ark behind where the rabbi is standing in the front of the temple. But inside that scroll is Hebrew letters and Hebrew words. And those Hebrew letters and words are a code. And there's a limited amount of Hebrew letters. There's 22, and there's a limited amount of words. And that is a code of your soul and of your heart. And I'm going to tell you the neatest part about this is the very first letter in the Torah is a bet. Okay? It's called bet, like B, bet. Okay? Bereshit, for the beginning. That is a bet. And the very last letter is the last letter of the word Israel, Yisrael, a lamed. And if you put the lamed and the bet together, it spells the word lave, which is heart. So one might argue that the message in the Torah is to open your heart. It's a journey of freedom from the blockages of your heart. Remember, the Moses is in you, the Abraham is in you. All the characters in the Torah are in you, and they're teaching you to opening up to life, that you will arrive. You know, so let me just talk to you about opening the heart, and some of my inspiration this week was my own blocked heart. You know, I'm completely honest on this show, and I think it's important to remember we're always getting better and we're always getting more open. But there is a timing element, I think, to life, and sometimes it happens quickly, and sometimes it happens slowly, and a lot of times it's about owning your own behavior and nothing else. It's no longer about other people and what they do to you. It's about you and what you do to them. And at that point, you become awakened. And I have to read you a quote by Carl Jung, which is the inspirational quote for the hour, and is this: your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, and who looks inside awakens. And that's from Mr. Carl Jung. And I believe what he meant by this is that if your world is determined by what everyone else does, you can't change it. But if your world is determined by what you do, then you can change it. So your actions can actually open your heart. So this is about empowerment and ownership and bringing it all back home. And I have to tell you, I took this last week. If you were watching the show, we had Jamar on, and he talked about transformational breath. And I think I breathed 3 times. He mentioned a cosmic orgasm, and I signed up for his next class. I went, okay, I got to do transformational breath. So I go to this transformational breath class, which I absolutely love, but I had no idea what it was going to do to me. Because I've read, I've talked, I've studied, I've meditated, listeners, I've done everything that I can to let go of certain things in my life. And sometimes I think because we're mental, physical, and spiritual beings, some of this release that has to happen for us to finally move into our heart is a physical experience. So I took this transformational breath class, and over the next 2 days, relationship patterns in my own life shifted so drastically. My heart opened so drastically and changed. I was shocked because I took ownership. I took ownership of my own reaction to situations, and I was able to change it. I'm going to give you one situation. I'm a very competitive person, okay? Very driven, very competitive, often competitive in friendships, okay? This may be a pattern you listening might share. You might be a competitive person in your relationships, okay? And this blocks you from loving and sharing with people. Because remember, opening the heart means you have to not only give, but you got to take in. An open heart can receive. So if you're competitive, that can block that flow. So I actually needed to ask a friend of mine who is more educated than me in a certain area, which I hate to admit, but she is. And I had to ask her a question. And I really wanted the answer more than I cared about the competition. And so I did. I asked her for help. And for the first time, and I'm pausing because it's very dramatic for me to ask people for help. So I asked her for help in this area, and it opened this whole heart space in our relationship of give and take. Immediately, listeners, I stepped outside of my own silliness, my own competition, my own closeness, my own closed heart, and changed a slight behavior, asking for help. And I'm telling you, the next 3 hours, our communication, we shared so much information between the two of us. Our friendship went from a lower level experience, and she's like my best friend, to such a higher level of love, such a higher level of unconditional sharing and evolution as two people. So that was amazing. But there's a bigger one, folks. I got to tell you, this is about my mother. And we're going to talk about the 4 L's and what we need to do to open to love, the 4 L's of love. And I have to tell you this is about my mother. My mother, we all have mothers and we all have fathers, and some of the things about our mothers we can't let go of, we can't open to. And my automatic pattern a lot of times with my mothers is to just completely close up and shut down. But after this class, I swear it must have had to do with this class or maybe it was just the planets were in the right position. I don't know. Or it was time, I've expanded enough and it was time. There was no more time for nonsense. There was no more time to blame anyone else. Remember, if it's their fault, they decide. If it's your fault, you decide. You get to change. So I go to my mother was in the hospital. And you're thinking, oh God, Rabbi Jenny, you were mad at your mom in the hospital. I was. I'm just a human being. And, I wanted to do something else that day. That's very, very, very real. And I go to the hospital with my mom. I meet my mom there. And immediately I feel myself contracting in the normal way. And I realized something very important, that I wasn't in the hospital, she was. And I don't know why I realized that, but that the hospital was happening to her and not to me. And I looked around at the situation and I saw my own behavior. And I stepped outside of it and I made a different choice. And I have to tell you, listeners, it absolutely shifted me. I made a joke and asked my mother if, she wanted me alone in a room. She could have done something else to get me there, and we made jokes and we laughed, and just my simple inner acknowledgement of my own choice to close down shifted everything. So we want to talk about opening your own heart, listeners, and we're going to talk about the 4 L's because there are 4 things you're going to need to do. And you can no longer blame anyone else, guys. This is the Rabbi Jenny Show. This is all on you. We're not blaming anymore. That's poo-poo stuff. That's old. That's old. So no more blaming. All the ownership is going to come on you. You get to open your heart to love today. And how you have to do that is you have to step outside and observe yourself. The first L, let go. Remember, there's 4 L's. First one is let go. There's something you just won't let go of. Now, letting go, like in Torah, is not such an easy process. It's this battle between Pharaoh and Moses and blah, 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 blah. But let go can be easy if you take action. And that's the second L. And that's look around. I need you to look around when you're holding on to something. Like really look around. What is actually happening to you in that moment and that you won't let go? Look at who's around you and what is going on. Take a look. Take a look at the sun. Take a look at the trees. Take a look around and ask yourself, what's going on? Why am I holding on to this weight? And the third L is this. You are going to listen. You are going to listen to what's going on around you. We hear the Shema all the time in Judaism, but listening is your next tool. Because remember, you aren't always interpreting things from the right perspective. You're going to listen to the world around you, listen to your own voices, listen to what's going on. And then the most important L is the third one. You're going to lighten up. You're going to make a choice to lighten up. Either laugh, dance, sing, make a joke, give a hug, give a kiss, and just change your action. Those are the 4 L's to love. And I'm telling you, it is exponential. It is guaranteed. But we are so stuck in this pattern of thinking the world is happening to us. But if the world is happening for us, that means we're in a partnership, folks. That means the opening to love is part our responsibility, which is the good news. We get a choice in this whole thing. We have a role. Remember, if it's on you, it's on you. So the 4 L's are this. You're going to let go. You're going to look around. You're going to listen. And you're going to lighten up. I also was inspired this weekend by the, there's a couple of things. I was inspired by the heart chakra, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in the next break. But after the next break, saw this movie, The Boss, with Melissa McCarthy, where she's this wealthy Donald Trump type female who was in foster care. Well, she was in an orphanage her whole childhood, and she becomes this mega millionaire, and she does her whole life alone, and it's really not the best movie in the world, I got to be honest, but it was a great, great example of opening one's heart to love and how our past can block us to that. And that the key, listeners, is to not let your past dictate your future. And you can say, Jenny, that's so easy, that's so this, that's so... No, the moment you decide to start doing this, the moment you decide to observe your life and take responsibility for the choices and the actions that you are taking, your life can change revolutionary. And I got your back. Okay? Some of this is about humility, folks. Some of this is about that you're not always the nicest person on the planet. I'm not always the nicest person on the planet. Hell, in the right situation, I could push anyone away. We all judge. We all do things, but we're all doing it to stay safe. And we have to own that and realize that we are safe. That the world is a safe place and that it wants us to expand and become more and more love. We're going to talk more, and we have an amazing guest. This is Rabbi Jenny. We'll talk to you in a couple minutes. Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny from The Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life. The presidential candidates are talking about it. The talk show hosts are talking about it. It's all over the news. Maybe it's time you should start talking about it. Maybe it's time for you to get help. If you or someone you love is suffering from a heroin addiction, Epiphany Resources has the solution for you. Heroin addiction manifests in an apathy and a disinterest in life. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team reignite and empower their clients to embrace life for a bright future in recovery. With groundbreaking creative and spiritual modalities combined with narrative reframing and cognitive behavioral therapy, the team at Epiphany Resources neutralize the cravings for heroin and reawaken one's desire for joy and life. It's time to talk about it. It's time to heal. It's time to recover from heroin addiction. Contact Epiphany Resources at www.etcfl.com or call 561-777-0241. Epiphany Resources. It's time to begin. The after-school hours between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net. You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Good. Yeah. Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny. Welcome back. We're talking about opening your heart to love, and we're so glad you're here on the Rabbi Jenny Show. I want to talk to you about the heart center because that is where we open to love. It's the heart center. It's in the middle of your chest, and what's neat is in the chakra tradition, which is clearly not Jewish. The anahata chakra is located in the center of the heart, and it's for unconditional love. And in Judaism, when we look at the tree of life and you look at the sacred wheels that make up that cage that our chakras are actually operating through, the heart center is called Tiferet, and that means beauty. And that is in between, closely located to compassion and judgment. So the less we if we're overly compassionate or overly in self-pity, or if we're overly in judgment of our others and ourselves, we won't see beauty. It's like a window. I want you to think of your heart chakra as a window to beauty. And it's interesting because the quote that I chose for this particular part of the topic and the teaching is by Helen Keller, who couldn't see a thing. And she said this: the best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. That's Helen Keller. So our heart center and opening our heart means we must be more compassionate and less judgmental and keep those things in a state of constant balance so we can shine that light through and we can see the world. We can see the world. We're going to introduce our fabulous bad Mama Gemma.
Rabbi Jenny. Bad. Mama Gemma. Bad Mama Gemma.
We are joined today by the beautiful Kathleen Bishop, or Shokai. She is a Buddhist monk, I believe, right?
Yes,
is it monk?
Yes, I am a Zen Buddhist.
She is a Zen Buddhist monk, previously a Unity minister.
Yes.
And in another faith. I know, before that, right? Before Unity?
Was a Methodist.
Methodist, then Unity, then Interfaith, then Zen Buddhist,
And
correct?
my father's a Brooklyn Jew.
And her father is a Brooklyn Jew, and this is 2016, folks. So if you didn't think you had permission to choose your path, today we're giving you that on the Rabbi Jenny Show. Kathleen and I, Shokai and I, have done interfaith events together, and she is a delicious soul. So tell us what this topic, opening to love, brings up for you in your own path and your own tradition.
Well, Rabbi Jenny, one of the opportunities that we share every year is the Christmas Eve service at the Center for Spiritual Living in Boca Raton. And I've been invited. We both have been invited
Yep.
every year. And the first time I was invited, they said, well, what would you like to do? And I said, well, we have a wonderful, wonderful sutra, which is like a prayer
Yes.
in Zen Buddhism. And it's called the Metta Sutra, which metta means loving kindness. So when you said, why don't you come and share on this date? I had no idea what your topic was.
Yeah.
But I said, why don't I do the Metta Sutra? Because it's all about loving kindness. And then yesterday I was writing my blog, and it's on the moment, being in the moment, the mystery of the moment. And I said, I think I need to do it on love.
Yes.
And then I get here today, and you're saying, oh, our topic is on love.
Yay.
Isn't the universe incredible?
Yes, it
Really
is.
incredible.
Well, and the
You know?
topics for the show come up with the guests. You know, we scheduled this a while ago
Yeah.
at an event that we did together.
Right.
So do you want to
Right.
read the metta to the
I'd
listeners?
love to. I'd love to share a sutra with them because many people may have never heard a Buddhist sutra.
Okay, let's start with that
Yeah.
then. All right, listeners, we're going to have
so
you
we're going to
listen.
use a little bell as well.
Okay.
All right. And so we're going to go through the verses. And I'd like you to get relaxed and close
If you're
your
driving,
eye. If you
you
don't
can
drive it, if
just
you're not
listen to the
driving.
words. Just listen to the
Right.
peaceful
don't
words.
close your eyes if you're driving.
No.
Or cutting onions for your dinner.
Yeah.
All right. And if you are someplace where you can sit and relax, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just focus on the bell and the words. And this is the Metta Sutra by Shakyamuni Buddha. May all beings be happy. May they be joyous and live in safety. All living beings, whether weak or strong, in high or middle or low, realizing the small and the great, the visible and the invisible. May they be near or far, born to be born. May all beings be happy. Let none deceive another, nor despise any being in any state. Let none by anger or hatred wish harm to another. Even as a mother, at the risk of her life, watches over and protects her only child. So, with a boundless mind, should one cherish all living things, suffusing love over the entire world, above, below, and all around, without limit. So let each cultivate an infinite goodwill toward the whole world.
Thank you, Kathleen. And I love the way that sutra refers to all the living beings, and that goes with our look around. Talk about the challenges in your own journey that you've had opening your heart, and the things that you've done to overcome them.
Sure, I'd love to. Well, as I said, my parents were, father was a Brooklyn Jew, my mother's a Kansas Methodist, raised on a farm. So she was very, how can I say it, stoic.
Yeah.
And not a huggy, kissy, lovey personality type. My dad was the one who was gregarious and loving and joking and fun. And so, we had a lot of tension between my
Yeah.
mother and I over the years because I'm a very outgoing, loving, huggy, type of personality. So I had to overcome that. And a short, real quick story about my mother. When I was about 14, she told me, a blue-eyed blonde, my mother, told me that I had the mousiest brown hair that she had ever seen.
Oh, Lord. Oh,
So
Lord.
needless to say, I was just old enough to go to the drugstore with some babysitting money, and I went and bought some hair dye. And do you know, Jenny, that I dyed my hair red for 40 years?
Wow.
40 years.
Wow.
Because of that one tiny little phrase my mother said. Now, if I had asked my mother, she probably wouldn't even recall the conversation.
And I want to get to this whole idea of personal ownership of our actions because, at what point did you ask yourself if you liked red hair?
Well, it seemed to go. It seemed to go with my complexion. So every time I tried to change the shade, didn't work. So
Right.
I'd go back to the red until I became a Buddhist monk and I had my head shaved.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know I had all gray and silver hair. And then as it started to grow back in, I thought, I look pretty doggone good in this silver and gray hair. I'm keeping it.
Wow.
So there's always that transition, that time that elapses where we have these relationships that need to be healed. And then my real relationship became healed when my mother got Alzheimer's. And I took care of her for 5 years.
Wow.
And then I built such a bond with my mother, a loving bond with my mother. You know, we became one.
Yes.
Really, we became one.
Well, and I think, like I said, it becomes less about what's happened to you, and it more becomes about what's happening to them.
Yes,
you know.
exactly.
And I actually heard this from a very wise man. I was in a support group meeting, and he was grieving his wife, and he went to one of his teachers, and he said he was complaining about how his wife died, and yada 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 yada, and his grief, and his teacher said, What do you really want to say? And he said, I want to say, why is this happening to me? And he said, but it didn't happen to you. It happened to Ruth.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
you're still here.
Yes.
You know, and I think that once we take that, it's like your head pops out.
Right.
And you realize, oh, I don't have to dye my hair red.
Yeah. Like, duh.
But our bodies, we were talking in the break about how we're mental, physical, and spiritual. So our bodies in trauma, or our bodies at the moment somebody close to us says or does anything, our body, it like memorizes it.
Yes.
So I think that that's why meditation and breath work and all of those things are so important, because we must also transform our physical selves.
Oh,
I think so.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
make it safe for them to chill out.
Right,
you
right.
know?
So, and it was sort of like, for me, taking care of my mother was probably the most powerful 5 years of my life.
Yes.
Of my life. I was so blessed by the opportunity to give back to her. You know, to really give back she was a mother, so I knew she loved me. But just to be able to give back my kindness and my caring, and to, when she got afraid, when she wouldn't go into a shower, she got afraid. You know, it ended up, this sounds silly, but it ended up that I would get undressed and I would literally walk her into the shower, and we would shower together because I wanted her to feel safe.
Yes.
I wanted her to feel safe.
Yeah. It becomes less about you and more
Right.
about them.
Exactly.
You know, and there is a switch that has to happen. Sometimes it can be like in the Jewish tree, it's that moment of compassion.
Yes.
It's the moment when compassion outweighs judgment.
Yes.
I always think there's like, I don't know, there's 24 hours in a day. I'm not quite sure how many exact minutes that adds up to. I don't have a calculator with me, or seconds, and how we can get stuck on one comment. 1 second
yes.
in all the seconds and all the minutes in our journey. And it actually will steal so many more. And so we actually, we make time with
Yes.
people.
Yes.
When
we
we get
ruminate
into love.
over things, right? Don't we?
Yeah.
Jen? We
Yeah,
ruminate
yes.
over that same. Oh, she said this to me, the lady at work, or you know, or my ex, or my boyfriend, or my wife, or my
Right.
husband. How dare she say X to me? And then they forgot it. And if you asked them if they even said it, they wouldn't even remember saying it. And you ruminated over it for the last 3 hours, right?
And literally, I don't want to say wasted time, but did.
It challenged your body,
Yeah.
because now that anger, that fear, that animosity, that pain is stuck in your body somewhere.
And so sutras and prayer, like what? Give the listeners an idea of your spiritual practice.
Well, I get up in the morning about 5 o'clock, and I take about 30 minutes. I listen to Thich Nhat Hanh. I don't know whether you know he is. He's
Of
a
course,
famous
sure.
Zen
I didn't
monk.
quote him this week, but
Yeah, right? And he has wonderful CD, meditative CD, and I listen to the music. He has beautiful bells, just like this bell, and I listen to the bell. And then every time the bell rings, if my mind starts to wander while I'm sitting in the meditation, the bell draws me back.
okay.
The
Well,
bell
we're
draws me
gonna
back.
let's do that after this break.
Yeah,
Kathleen. We'll
great.
get into your spiritual practice. Maybe talk about a few other blocks.
Great.
And this is Rabbi Jenny with Shokai talking about opening the heart to love. Presidential candidates are talking about it. The talk show hosts are talking about it. It's all over the news. Maybe it's time you should start talking about it. Maybe it's time for you to get help. If you or someone you love is suffering from a heroin addiction, Epiphany Resources has the solution for you. Heroin addiction manifests in an apathy and a disinterest in life. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team reignite and empower their clients to embrace life for a bright future in recovery. With groundbreaking creative and spiritual modalities combined with narrative reframing and cognitive behavioral therapy, the team at Epiphany Resources neutralize the cravings for heroin and reawaken one's desire for joy and life. It's time to talk about it. It's time to heal. It's time to recover from heroin addiction. Contact Epiphany Resources at www.etcfl.com or call 561-777-0241. Epiphany Resources. It's time to begin. The after-school hours between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net.
Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny from The Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life.
You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back. It's Rabbi Jenny with Shokai. We're talking about opening the heart to love. And Shokai, you were just telling it. I love calling you by that name. I do.
It's a beautiful name, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a beautiful name. What does it mean?
It means in Zen, Buddhism, and Japanese, Shokai means inviting the world.
Oh my God, that's delicious.
Isn't that great? This is what we're doing right now,
yes,
isn't it, Jenny? We're inviting the world.
And I think, this is about opening the heart to love, and also I think opening your heart to what you desire, because Shokai, you are such a great example of a woman who's followed her own path. Go over your practice daily, because we were going into that before the break.
In the morning. And then 3 days a week, I go to what they call the Zendo. Mm-hmm. On Wednesday evening, we have a book study and meditation. And then Saturday morning, we have a service and a meditation. And then we have another book study. Mm. And then on Thursday morning, we just sit. We do from 7 in the morning until 8. Mm. And on Wednesday, we sit and do our book study and everything from 6 to 8. And on Saturday morning, it's 7:15 to 9. And then from 9 to 10, we have bagels and cream cheese.
I have to say, if you're listening, you might be like, oh my goodness, that's such a dedication. It's such amount of time. But, when you're opening your heart and when you decide to take ownership of yourself and your life, it's not a hard thing to do, because you start to realize that this is the things in life that you need. These are the things in life that matter to you. Right. And so dedicating time to them, it's your path, it's your joy, it's your love, it's your heart. Can you tell the listeners, one of the things you spoke about that I've never heard you speak about at the last event was becoming a Buddhist monk. There's in Zen Buddhism. Zen Buddhism is not like Tibetan, it's Zen Buddhism. And what are the names of those quizzes or conundrums.
Koans.
There are koans that you get, and you have to like give the right answer. Can you explain this to the listeners? 'Cause
yeah,
it's
a koan.
totally off topic, but it was the coolest thing you've talked
The
about.
two most famous koans that everyone knows
Mm-hmm.
are these. Number one, what is the sound of one hand clapping? That's one of the most famous, and the other is, and you've all heard it, what is the sound? Does a tree make a noise if no one is there when it falls and hits the ground in the forest? When a tree hits the ground in the forest, does it make a sound? That's another very, very famous Buddhist
and to
koan.
become a monk, you have to literally give the right answer.
Well, it depends
And
on
there
your
is no
teacher.
answer.
There really is no right answer. My
Right.
koan, my last koan was this one. Two people walking in the rain. One gets wet and the other does not. And the first thing my teacher said after he said that was, and they don't have an umbrella.
Ah.
Do you know it took me 1 year to come up with an answer that was acceptable to my teacher? 1 year.
Are you allowed to share it?
I'm not saying, because if you get that koan, your answer is your answer.
Oh my goodness.
But it took me 1 year. And I have the most fabulous teacher, Mushin. He is just phenomenal. He's just incredible. He's 80 years old, and he's German, and he's got this giant, beautiful white mustache, and he is just filled of so much love. It just oozes out of every pore. He's just phenomenal.
And when we open our heart to, when we stop judging and when we release compassion and we open our heart, we can start noticing things like a teacher. We can start noticing things as they come to us. We start to become a little clearer about what's walking in and out of our lives, because I believe, I don't know if you believe this, that we look around differently.
Oh, we do.
The world
We do.
radically
We do.
changes.
My heart got so opened at our Southern Palm Zen group that I volunteered for the prison ministry. We have 400 plus men sitting as Zen Buddhists in the Florida prisons.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
We go twice a month to OCI, and we have a room full of men studying Zen Buddhism who are behind in prison, not just jail, but prison. Some of them are lifers,
Yeah.
from murderers on down and around, of everything you can imagine. It is the most fulfilling and wonderful volunteer time I have ever done in my life.
And I believe that when you help others and you open to, service and you give
it's incredible.
service, again, it increases your capacity for compassion. We are so judgmental. we are
yes,
so
about
hard
people
on
in
ourselves.
prison.
And we need to keep that wheel of compassion spinning so we can see the beautiful
Absolutely.
things in our lives. What's been the biggest challenge for you? I mean, I know you spoke about your mom, but what's another challenge that you've had as far as opening to love? Like, where do you find your biggest challenge?
Mostly in personal relationships. I'm divorced, you know, and I'm like you. I'm a very aggressive business person, very successful. I've done a lot of really fun things in my life. One day my husband said something about, oh, well, you think I traveled a lot. You think that this is the Holiday Inn or something. I said, no, it's more like the Days Inn. That was the end of that marriage, right?
Well, I think that some of that is our own ideas that come through this opening
Right.
to love. The idea
Right.
that to be empowered, you have to be alone.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
to be empowered, you have to have a certain dynamic in your personal
Right.
relationship, that you
Right.
can't be equal in a relationship.
Right.
But, your relationship in your career is not like your personal relationships. But we do have these, we've been given these ideas, I think
Right.
both men and women, that have power. What do you do with the power
Right.
when you're, because intimacy.
Fear of losing the power,
Yes.
as a feminist in the 70s. I grew up as a feminist in the 70s. And so it's trying to maintain the power. But then what happened was I was not loving. I was not.
No,
I lost my heart chakra, just went black,
Well, because you can't erase this. You're still the woman with the same other messages.
Yes, right.
There's those messages: take over the world, change the world. You can do anything, blah blah blah. But you're still also raised with Barbie, and you're still raised
Do
with
the laundry
the Brady
and
Bunch.
clean the
You're
house
still,
and cook the dinner
and
yeah.
it just really
I
is
know.
very confusing.
It is.
What are you supposed to do with all that information? And there's fear. I mean, there's fear of vulnerability. An open heart is an exposed heart, my friends.
Right.
And so it makes you exposed to vulnerability, real love,
Yeah.
real open love. You're vulnerable. and you're open and you let people see you as you are. I see it every day working with the young men that I work with, that they masks come off.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And you don't have your substance, you don't have your shopping, you don't have your lies, you don't have all the things you used to pick up. So you have to reach for something, and that's why a spiritual path is.
And that's why the Zen Buddhism, based on loving kindness, as the Metta Sutra says, it's based. And one of our most famous sutras, besides this one, is the Heart Sutra. Is called the Heart Sutra. And we were talking about my blog before, and I write a blog on unlockthedoortolearning.com, and I'm doing a series, which I've done many of, and they're all on the academia.edu, as well as books. Little pamphlet books, and it's on the mystery of the moment is what I'm working on now. And just yesterday, I did it on love.
Yes,
it was about love. What is the mystery of what moment are you in now? Is it a moment of sharing, of love, of kindness, compassion, and peace, or fear?
And can you be nice? Loving kindness to others, but loving kindness to the self.
Both.
Because you can make a choice in every moment, like I did with my mom this weekend, like I did with my friend. You can make a choice to bring more love. You can cultivate love. You can stop looking for perfect love and begin cultivating love. Begin making more love more often.
Absolutely.
And that's when we take ownership, and that's a sign. I think that vulnerability becomes easier when you're on a spiritual path because the knowingness happens.
Right.
You know that you're protected and guided, and you're connected to this divine. You're natural. You're a piece of it all.
Right.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You're a piece of it all.
And that's what the Shakyamuni Buddha said. Basically, you live life, peace, love, and compassion.
Looking forward in your journey, Shokai, where do you see yourself expanding? Where do you see yourself growing?
Well, I'm hoping to be able to continue my practice, my Zen Buddhist practice, to be able to bring more people into the sitting. We don't have a big dogma that people have to follow other than, let's peace, love, and compassion in those areas. And to really grow the Buddhist community here. We actually sit in Boca, to really be able to grow and share these fantastic, principles and prayers, sutras, meditation, teach people how to meditate, teach people how to sit, and know that it's just this. Whatever's happening in our life, that's one of the most famous phrases in Buddhism. Life is just this. Whatever this is.
Right here, right now.
Right now, whatever this is, whether it's happiness, sadness, I just, got a dent in my car or whatever. Don't be attached to it. Just deal with what this is in this moment, because really, as you know, there is no other moment. No. There's only one moment in the universe, and that's this one, right now, right here.
Yes, and that is the gift that we are given. That is the gift, this moment. And I love the idea of breathing in and breathing out and recognizing just the gift of doing that. You have a short breath exercise.
We do.
I think we have a couple moments to do that.
All right.
Do you want to go through that?
Absolutely. This is called the 3-breath exercise.
Okay, you listening, listeners?
And it's a very simple thing to do.
Okay.
All you have to do, I like to shake out my hands because we hold a lot of tension in our hands.
All right.
All right, and then lay them either on your lap or on your chair.
Not when you're driving.
Desk,
you don't shake out one at a time. Okay.
And you can do this with your eyes open or closed.
Wonderful.
All right, and what you do is you simply breathe in 3 times, deep breath, but not so deep that it makes you cough, and you count 1 on the in breath and 2 on the out breath. 3 breaths, 1, 2, slow and deep, but not so deep that they make you cough. So you ready? Want to try it?
Okay, let's try it. Is it going to be like...
And you do it quietly.
I don't know. It's radio.
You ready for the bell?
Okay, you're ready for the bell. We can't have two dead in here. So.
How do you feel?
I hope you heard my panting,
How do
listeners.
you feel?
All right. Shokai, Reverend Kathleen Bishop. Give us your blog one more time for the listeners.
Unlockthedoortolearning.com.
Unlockthedoortolearning.com. This is Rabbi Jenny. We'll be right back with the Joy Jar. Thanks, Shokai.
Thanks for having me.
All right, bye-bye.
The after school hours between 2 p.m.
a.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net.
Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny from The Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life. The presidential candidates are talking about it. The talk show hosts are talking about it. It's all over the news. Maybe it's time you should start talking about it. Maybe it's time for you to get help. If you or someone you love is suffering from a heroin addiction, Epiphany Resources has the solution for you. Heroin addiction manifests in an apathy and a disinterest in life. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team reignite and empower their clients to embrace life for a bright future in recovery. With groundbreaking creative and spiritual modalities combined with narrative reframing and cognitive behavioral therapy, the team at Epiphany Resources neutralize the cravings for heroin and reawaken one's desire for joy and life. It's time to talk about it. It's time to heal. It's time to recover from heroin addiction. Contact Epiphany Resources at www.etcfl.com or call 561-777-0241. Epiphany Resources. It's time to begin.
You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Hey, welcome back. We are talking about opening the heart to love. This has been one of my favorite shows. Please watch it again so you can catch all the delicious, luscious, fabulous, ridiculous information. And it is time for the Ridiculous Joy Jar Challenge.
Joy, 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 joy. It's Adeline Gobergstein, and it's time for the Rabbi Jenny Ridiculous Joy Jar Challenge.
Hi, who's on the phone?
Hello, how are you? This is Victoria.
Is it Gloria or Toria?
Victoria.
Victoria. Oh my goodness, I love that name. Victoria, do you know about the Rabbi Jenny Ridiculous Joy Jar Challenge?
No, I don't. This is my first time hearing about it.
Oh my goodness. Do you have 10 things in your life that you are ridiculously joyful about?
I mean, I can name things, but I don't have them on the top of my head right this second.
Okay, well, I think you can do it, Victoria. I have faith in you, and I think you have something important to promote on the show, so it would be worth a try, don't you think?
Yes.
All right, let's try to name 10 things. Let's go for it.
All right, well, definitely my kids. I'm happy for my life. I'm happy for my family. I'm happy for my job. And I'm happy to be able to see another day every day, that's for sure.
Yes.
I'm happy for my nephew. I have a baby nephew. Being an aunt's a really good feeling.
Yes.
And I'm this is so off guard. I'm sorry, I'm driving too.
Well, your car. Are you happy for your car?
For my car, I'm happy I'm happy for my home, my boyfriend, my grandmother.
All right, ding, 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 you did it. You did it. Woo! All right, Victoria, what would you like to promote today on the Rabbi Jenny Show?
Well, I would like to promote that I actually am a female host and MC for West Palm Beach down to Miami. I do shows and, just basically have fun with the whole nightlife thing and involved with radio.
Okay. And do you have a website where people can reach you?
I have a Facebook. They can find me under Victoria Jackson, a.k.a. Secret.
Victoria Jackson, a.k.a. Secret. That's hot, girl.
Yeah, they call me Secret on the mic, so you can actually go to Google and find photos by Secret or Secret on the mic, or you can find me on Instagram as well with you. It's YAGIRL.
Okay.
CREP 0. So it's your girl Secreto, but the instead of a O, it's a 0.
Okay. All right, Miss Secret. That is so. I am definitely going to check you out. I'm a little old for the clubbing, but I'm going to check it out. Thank you for calling. Everyone, check out Victoria Jackson, a.k.a. The Secret, on Facebook. Thank you, Victoria, for calling the Rabbi Jenny Show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Have a great night.
You too.
Kiss those babies. All right, that was really fun.
Yeah.
I was like, woo, we got a DJ, we got
business.
nothing I like more than a female MC, female DJ, the spinner, like Spinderella. If you're a salt and pepper person like me, I'm dating myself completely. I'm a big fan of women who do that type of work. So I think we're gonna go straight into the Rabbi Jenny Jam, because then we can talk to you a little bit more about this fabulous topic, opening your heart. Get the drums going this time again. You are mine, I am yours. Hallelujah. You are mine, I am yours. Hallelujah. Open to love. Open to love. I am mine, you are yours. Hallelujah. I am mine, you are yours. Hallelujah. Open to love. Open to love. We belong to each other, we belong to ourselves. No more blind exhibition, unintentional hell. We can love with our knowing, set it down, set it deep. We can love with intention, watch it grow, watch it keep. Paradise is waiting right here, right now. Just open your heart and sing it out loud. You are mine, I am yours. Hallelujah. You are mine, I am yours. Hallelujah. Open to love. Open to love. I am mine, you are yours. Hallelujah. I am mine, you are yours. Hallelujah. Open to love. Open to love. Okay, listeners, I just wish I could just sing and open your heart through this mic right now. That is I'm loving this conga beat and I'm doing this jam. Okay, this is Rabbi Jenny. We're going to go over today's show. We're going to be talking about opening the heart to love, and we're going to review what we talked about today. And I want to review what we talked about today and first give you this quote. This is a quote by Rumi, and it is this. Rumi is a Sufi mystic and a delicious writer, and you should read it if you want to feel more lovey, lovey, lovey. Okay, so this is Rumi, and Rumi says this. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. To open your heart, listeners, I want to remind you of some affirmations, and then I'm going to remind you of the 4 L's. I want you to say to yourself daily, I forgive naturally and easy, which goes with the first L, letting go. The affirmation is, I forgive naturally and easily. The second affirmation is, my heart is full and open. My heart is full and open. which goes with the second L, look around. We're going to let go and we're going to look around. The next one is I see evidence of love all around me, which also goes with look around, right? Also goes with listening, the third L. The last affirmation is this: the love I give comes back to me many, many times over. Ladies and gentlemen, opening your heart is your job. It is very, very important to start to look at the decisions and choices that you make. Remember, life is not about what people do to you. Life is about what you do to people. And when you look at life from that angle, you can shift and you can change your world dramatically. Where do you close yourself off, listeners? Where do you block the light of who you are from us? Where do you block and why? Are you afraid? Are you scared of being vulnerable? Is it worth it anymore? Is it worth it anymore? Is the desire to move forward greater than the fear? I hope so, because I can't wait to see, listeners, what happens when you open your heart to love. This is the most important thing that you can do because your heart center is located right in the middle. It's the gateway. It's the gateway between higher and lower thinking. It's the gateway between the lower, the survival nature, which tells us everything's happening to us and we have to look around and be on guard and be afraid, and the higher self that reminds us, oh my goodness, I breathe in, I breathe out, the same air that the tree uses to blow in the wind, that I'm a part of everything. Your heart is the most precious thing. It is the gateway. And so I want you to remember these things this week, listeners. I want you to remember the 4 L's. I want you to remember the 4 L's in a very awkward time. If you're at work, I want you to look at the situation, okay? We're gonna get serious now. This is Rabbi Jen. I'm getting serious. I want you to take ownership because you are fabulous and it is no longer anybody else's problem. So I want you to look at a situation this week, and I want you to look at what you did in that situation. I want you to tell me what you did in that situation that closed you off. And I want you to make a conscious decision tomorrow to do the opposite at least 4 times. So if you ignored somebody or made a face at somebody or made a comment or gossiped, guess what you get to do tomorrow? You get to talk. You get to smile, and you get to say something lovely about somebody 4 times. Start practicing actions. Start practicing an opposite way of life, and your heart, like that wheel and the tree of life, will start to spin, and you will shine all that light and love on everything around you, and you will receive all that light and love trying to get you, and your world will change exponentially like mine did this week. It is Rabbi Jenny. I've enjoyed this hour more than ever. Open your heart to love. I adore you, and keep shining. We'll talk to you next week.
You have been listening and lighting up your life with Rabbi Jenny. Join us next week for another session of love, light, and joy as Rabbi Jenny takes life to the next level. Are you ready? Rabbi Jenny says the time is now.